Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And on the docket for today, we have a few airlines making some interesting points partnerships. We have, of course, our Chase Q1 2026 categories, plus a few other notes from the Sapphire Reserve folks have figured out. And we'll close with American Express closing the year being on a rampage. What a Grinch as usual. So, of course, if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with aforementioned airline partnerships. This time we have one going from, I wrote it down, from Southwest. There you go. I just looked at this dude from Southwest. New partnership with Turkish Airlines for anyone who's interested. Press release for you. Let's take a look. Southwest Airlines announced today a partnership with Turkish Airlines scheduled to begin in early 2026 to offer travelers around the globe one-ticket transatlantic journeys between the United States and Istanbul, unlocking onward connections across both carriers' networks. There you go. Not too much to say there. Again, I bring it up because we have seen Southwest go through quite a bit of a refresh over here and their card products and their reward program. So if this is a benefit to you, well, there you go. Now, if this one is not a benefit to you, this next one probably won't be a benefit to you either, but it is of note because it involves BILT Rewards and yet another transfer partner. If we take a look at this press release, we can see that BILT Rewards is joining with Spirit Airlines. Earn free Spirit points on rent and neighborhood spend. And of course, they have the transfer ratio there. 1,000 BILT points is going to equal 1,000 Spirit points, which is nice. So, yay for more partnerships, I guess. Again, I don't know that Spirit gets a ton of love. I've flown it once. Not great. Can't imagine many people want to do it. The one question I did think about when I saw this is, a lot of these folks have, these chains have what we think was exclusivity contracts with most of the big issuers. However, BILT seems to be able to partner with just about everybody. So I do wonder, and if anyone knows, you can let me know down below. It would be fantastic. What the difference is between BILT, how they can get everybody, but everyone else, Chase, American Express, Capital One, Citi, whoever, they seem to have very exclusivity deals with these guys. They just can't get everyone. So while this isn't going to be super helpful for many people, if it is helpful for you, fantastic. Now, another interesting story we're following up on, sort of put a bow on for the time being at least, is Mesa credit card. Mesa credit card, we talked about last week. They just up and shut down, closed their doors last week, sent out some emails to folks what's going to happen. And the big question, of course, is what was going to happen with their points. Mesa points, again, talking about transfer partners, they were primarily worth more if you transferred them out to their partners. I don't remember who their partners were. I guess it doesn't really matter. At one point, the Doctor of Credit had reported like a potential loophole where you could get in and then quickly transfer out your points even though they had shut everything down. I think that's since been closed. Mesa has updated their FAQ. For those of you who do have points over there, here's what's going to happen to them. You can see what about my outstanding active points balance. To ensure all cardholders receive the full value of their accrued rewards, we will be applying all remaining eligible reward points as a statement credit that will automatically be applied to your account. No action required. You do not need to log in to do this. Cool. The value is the thing here. The value of the rewards will be basically 0.6 cents a point. Far from the 1 cent a point redemption we all look for. However, this isn't, I guess this isn't as much of a ripoff as you might think, because when I did look at Mesa, again, we never made a full dedicated video to it, but much like they were basically like, hey, you want a full value, you got to use transfer partners. If you wanted to cash them out, well, then it's 0.6 cents a point, which is not great, which is one of the reasons why I kind of quickly lost interest in the card if I'm going to do it. And then going through their spend requirements, then I want 1 cent a point. So while they say full value, this is technically full value. It's the easiest solution for them. And, on one hand, I don't even know how many people had this card. I don't know how much time we need to spend on this. But I'll say this. On one hand, there's always rules about points are worthless until redeemed. That's why if you ever get shut down from Amex or Chase, they don't have to give you those points because they're worthless until redeemed, right? Earn and burn, as Uncle Luke says, I believe. So for them to even do this, I think they didn't technically have to, but to say that to get full value also slightly misleading, as most people who have this card would prefer transfer partners. I would have thought it'd be easier to leave the accounts open, or more fair to leave the accounts open just for you to go in, send out your points within, I don't know, 48 hours and be done with it. But either way, that is what you have for Mesa. Gone but not forgotten. Now, if that's put you off of these neo fintech fly-by-night banks, well, you might want to go with more of a tried and true, the House of Diamond, who has still the Freedom and the Freedom Flex rotating category cards, and we do have our categories. Sure, we're a week late because of how the taping schedule falls, but we did put a blog post up on it on profitablecontent.com as well. In case you're unaware, haven't heard by now, for Q1 of 2026, you are looking at dining, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and American Heart Association for your categories. Of course, you do need to activate all these. I don't think I have. I should actually do that right after this, just in case I use the cards. Of course, it is, again, going to be $1,500 in combined category spend. I don't love these for myself, but I don't dine out. I actually hate sit-down restaurants. It's such a waste of time. I mean, it works at McDonald's and things like that, but I also tend to not go there anymore. Not because I don't love McDonald's. It's just, I don't know, in what world? I was talking to a guy about this at the gym this morning. It's like, what world is a hash brown worth $3, right? Like, that's the really problem. That's besides the point. So I won't get a ton of value from there. The big benefit, again, if you're unaware, is the Freedom Flex also offers dining multiplier. So the combined stack on that $1,500, you're going to come out with 7x on dining on your $1,500 of dining if that's how you choose to spend it. Why is it a little bit higher? Because they're only 1 point is for the purchase, so you don't get the combined 3x. It's not 8x because you don't get the 5x for the dining category and then 3x for the base, because one of those points is always coming from the purchase itself. But 7 isn't too bad, so I do prefer. I can imagine this is going to dig out the Freedom Flex from a lot of people's drawers. Again, that is the Freedom Flex. The OG Freedom still gets the same categories, but it doesn't have that underlying dining perk, so you could always phone in and see if you can product change. I believe you can still do that, no problem. So there is that. Now, if you don't care for the free cards, you want to spend a little bit more money, maybe you have the Sapphire Reserve, but you'd also like the Sapphire Reserve to be a little bit more user-friendly, perhaps, especially in the dining space. Well, we have 2 updates for you here. So these both come from the Dr. Credit. Well, Chase actually announced this one. But interesting enough, when you're talking about this is actually, the Edit is their dining deal, right? So Chase announced that they'll be honoring the 2 cent per point value for all Edit properties booked through December 22nd. So I guess that's coming up really fast. If you want to use it, go ahead and book something. This includes prior bookings done at the lower value, as well as future bookings through the 22nd. So if you're a customer, you'll see the adjustment in your ultimate rewards balance. The reason they're doing this, because a few days ago, it was noticed that for the Edit properties, not all of them were giving the 2 cents in value. The points boost, kind of the new version of the trifecta, if you will. It was down to about 1.6 cents in some places, which was not great. So that's, I guess, less about food. So I guess that kind of messes up my transition a little bit from dining, but it works. So overall, that's nice. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to last. They're just going to honor it for a little bit of time, and then it'll be based on the property. Given the price people are paying, given that they already took out the original trifecta, I think that's a bit much. I mean, I know they'll sell you on other value and other benefits of booking through the Edit, but I just feel like, why hold a $700 card, all those other cards, and I can't get 2 cents a point when I used to get, much higher given how the trifecta works. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. You have to let me know. I also don't know how much people are using the Edit. I do know there was another post that they've actually added a few more properties to it, I want to say. So they are expanding it out, but again, would it really kill you to do 2 cents a point? That at least makes it a little bit better, but again, they're also trying to get away from those customers who just want the max redemption, is my guess. Now, on to dining. This is the correct transition I should have made. This is just a quick note. So, of course, you have exclusive tables with Chase, right? So we had, the doctor had captured a few points where if you wanted to go online to one of these restaurants that is included in the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables, you could buy a gift card, and that actually worked. And he goes on to say, it's purchased from an eligible restaurant who uses Square for the online gift cards. That part is important because early on there was issues depending on how, what point of sale system the restaurant was using could get it to code incorrectly. So calling out Square is important there. So this person was able to buy a gift card online going through Square, still coded correctly. Again, I mean, this is a very small sample size, but if you're someone who prefers to grab gift cards and just stack them up that way, could be a potential option. Likely going to have to test it out and see. And once you find your spot, I think that should work fine. Again, if you want to maximize that, it is more important. As long as you're going to go to that restaurant, or honestly, for $300, you could gift it to someone or whatever, somehow to get your lower that annual fee to a degree, however you want to value that. So those are your Chase stories. Now, this last one here isn't necessarily like a news story. It isn't like a headline anywhere. I just kind of happened to notice this, as I'm sure others have as well. If you happen to peruse Reddit on a Friday evening looking for topics to bump your gums about on Sunday with you guys, as I'm sure everyone does, because why go outside on a date when you can just read Reddit? That seems what people would do, right? The American Express seems to be going on another tirade of financial reviews and shutdowns. I've seen numerous posts about this in the our credit cards or our Amex, and originally I'm like, yeah, well, Amex is going to do Amex things, right? However, it did get me thinking about a few of points I thought could be interesting. One, they seem out maybe put some post up or something like that, but they do seem to be casting a wide net here. I've seen posts written from folks who are like, hey, I was a customer for 30 years, I'm not really in the churning game, and I've seen, of course, posts from people who they know, yeah, exactly what they did. Of course, the financial reviews, when they freeze all your cards and require you to send in a certain level of documentation, which can range from bank statements to all the way up to a request so they can get your tax forms for you from the IRS on your behalf, and which isn't new. We are seeing just more widespread, more prevalent, I guess. And I mean, two thoughts. I mean, the initial thought is like, hey, yes, it's economy related, which is always a touchy topic because, while yes, it's a large economy, personally, what I've seen and observed, it's kind of like it really only matters how your household is functioning. If you have your job, well, then everything's fine. But if you don't have your job, well, then everything's awful. There's some leeway in that for sure. But I mean, that could definitely be part of it. I mean, we've seen Trump and the Doge guys run through the government, and then they had the shutdown, and now, I was talking to the guy about this the other day. Now companies are firing people and blaming AI, which is probably the real reason. But they used to hide it and lie and just use words like right size and that nonsense. And they're just doing it now. So it could definitely be a reaction. Issuers do have a responsibility to keep visibility onto their portfolio at all times. They can't keep doing credit inquiries on you, but there are kind of like soft pulls in monitoring behavior and things of that nature in the background. Like they have to do that. So it could be, financial loss mitigation or risk prevention measures. The other part is a little bit more interesting, is I do wonder if this is because of their, I'm going to say, lowering the standards a bit. And you think about how they used to be charged cards, and now I no longer have affiliate links for them because I didn't sell any cards, probably because they're a terrible product. But you're not supposed to say charge card when it was affiliate. You're supposed to say card with flexible payment options, meaning the green, gold, and platinum, right? The ones that everyone wants. And they used to be, that used to scare people, because wow, you had to pay your balance in full. Like, you'd be surprised the amount of times I get asked, one, do you have American Express cards? And number two, that was always the follow up, like, yeah, but you have to pay it in full and things like that. So obviously, as we know, they've kind of softened. And how many Reddit posts can you find of people saying 21 and I got the platinum card? Like, sure, but show me your purchase power. That's really the trick. Anyways, the point being is they've expanded and got these youngsters into these cards, who are the ones who love these credits and coupons by Amex's quarterly earnings that they keep putting out. I wonder if that's it as well. They know, like, hey, we've relaxed them, so we should also go back and just double check the portfolio given the economic times. I have no proof. It's just more so a thought that I had. Like, yeah, let's throw this here at the end, see if anything's happened to you guys out there as well. Overall, I do think my only real problem with it is they're well in their right to do it. I just think it's always so tough to sell people on membership and everything and then lock all their cards, because you sell people on, you should only have our cards, why would you have other cards, and then I just leave you high and dry. There's got to be an alternative to take it down to a reasonable level or give someone a heads up or something. It's pretty tough to just strand them, which is why we always say, no matter how much you love one bank or the other, you got to have multiple banking institutions to guard against this exact thing. So hope it doesn't happen to you. It's definitely very annoying given the price you're paying for a lot of these cards, $800 now. Seems a bit ridiculous that they can't do it a little bit better, but hey, That's the way the game goes, I guess. So anyways, there you have it. That is the news for the week. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on ProfitfulContent.com, which is of course the channel's blog. We link it down below for you and on the channel homepage. Has the latest news stories, plenty of bank promotions. Those seem to be easier to get for the moment. And of course, a handful of credit card offers as well. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.